Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now, today I'm here to discuss and show you guys and girls this new upcoming open world MMO, which is set to be releasing in 2024, believe it or not. It's being made by no other than NC Soft, and it's called Trialblazer Project LLL, and yeah, it's looking pretty damn good. Now, it was announced a little while ago, and they have been a little bit quiet since, but like I said, it is actually set to be releasing this year. Now, whether that's going to be towards the end of the year, I do not know. I wanted to go ahead and let you guys and girls know the information that we have so far about this game, and of course I will be showing you some footage of the game as well. So before I get into that, let me just say, please like, share and subscribe, and then let's get into it. So basically, as I was saying, NC Soft announced that they were developing several games of different genres, and then they released information and gameplay footage of this one, which they've codenamed Project LLL. It's a AAA grade third-person shooter, and it's basically taking aspects from open world games, third-person shooting games, and also MMO. So it's a very interesting mix and match of the genre. So it's an open world MMO shooter, which, if I'm being honest, lately we are seeing more of these style of games popping up, because we have Once Human, which is coming out, which is also an open world MMO shooter, and there's a few others that I'll make some videos on about at a later date. But the information that we have thus far is they want it to be, they wanted to make a shooter game, but they were saying that they didn't want to join the battle royale genre and the arena style shooter genre. He wanted to make the game unique in its own way. So he wanted to incorporate an open world, which is fantastic, which is why I'm excited for the game, and it's why obviously I'm covering it, because it also has the MMO aspect as well. So he was saying in an interview that the shooter genre is all about understanding terrain and objects, choosing shelters, occupying, the high ground, etc. This is because how you understand and use the three-dimensional space is a core part of the decision-making process. He wants to create a different type of play and experience in which players can either work together or compete against each other by utilizing the two elements of action that target and shoot at opponents and occupy the space within the environment. So this game is going to be PvE, and it's also going to have PvP, which is obviously amazing. Now, what I will say is this game will not, people that are interested in MMORPGs and MMOs in general and like open world games, if you're not a shooter fan, a third person shooter fan, or even an FPS fan, this may not be for you. But I love FPS games and I love third person shooters. So, and I obviously, of course, love MMORPGs. So this is like all of the games that I love put into one. So this is why I'm very excited for it. It's going to be made with Unreal Engine as well. And interestingly enough, the open world is more than 30 kilometers of land, and it's seamlessly connected into a single environment. The core elements that make up the open world are uninterrupted, loading and movement. So they've tried to, basically, from the sounds of how he is explaining this, is it should be like Throne of Liberty, where there's no loading screens, because they mentioned that they want to have a seamless environment. So they've implemented content streaming and utilized the most cutting edge rendering technology. So I'm very, very excited to see this. Fingers crossed that there is no loading screens, because when you have an open world game and then you have to have a loading screen, that kind of breaks the immersion for me. But whereas like in Throne of Liberty, you can go throughout the whole world and there is no loading screen, so you're fully immersed in the world that you're in, right? So there, as I said, it's utilizing Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine 5 is what I'm going to assume. They don't actually state Unreal Engine 5, but I can only imagine it wouldn't be Unreal Engine 4. So that's interesting. They've also said They've made the shooting animations more realistic by utilizing motion capture to convey a feeling of live action to the tactical movements. And they've tried to secure a realistic sense of hitting by adding a separate tension to the animations of targets as they are hit. So that's motion. I mean, motion capture. So when you're having the good gunfights, it should, look and feel very, very, very good. Because of course, in a shooting game, it all comes down to if you're firing the weapon and it just feels something's off, then the game, the gameplay is ruined for me personally. And a little bit of information they've given us about the lore. It's going to be set in an atypical sci-fi world. Now, they have actually based the world that you're going to be playing in. They're going to be basing it on areas in Korea, which is again amazing. So that's why it's going to look, graphically it looks phenomenal, as you can see. So yeah, it's a sci-fi game, but it can also be seen as a game that falls under the sub-genre of an alternate history. And they state that it takes place in a world that started within the idea that the history we know progressed differently due to a particular event in the past. So a devastated Seoul, the 10th century Byzantine Empire, and the 23rd century are all blended together in the same lore. So to me, that it sounds pretty damn good. And also, what is of very interest to me, they say that what inspired them to make the lore for this game was actually the novels Foundation, which I love Foundation, and Dune as well. So they've read Foundation and they've read Dune, and they've probably watched the series and the movies, and they've taken inspiration from those two stories, which is amazing. And they've also used themes of technology, human justice, the alternate history from Blade Runner, Total Recall, and The Man in the High Castle. So very, very interesting blend of themes of stories and movies that they've drawn inspiration from. That's really, really cool. So since Seoul is an actual city, they made several trips there to the field locations, and they developed the base locations with surveys, and they used photo scans, which utilized three-dimensional maps, and then they've taken those and added various details that came from their imagination. So basically, it is real buildings and real areas from Seoul, but then they've obviously twisted it to fit the narrative and to fit the lore of the game. So to me, that is really, really cool. So if you've been around Seoul, you're gonna definitely notice areas. You're gonna be running through this area, and you're gonna think, hold on a minute, I know that location. So yeah, that's pretty damn cool for me. And they touched upon like the characters. So the difference between LLL and other existing NC games and Korean MMOs is that it focuses on giving each character specific characteristics. So each character has a unique name. There is a background story that explains each character's past and driving forces. So there's a huge storytelling element which is going to be emphasized to show each character's unique personality. So again, they're sort of leaning into storytelling as well. So again, I'm very, very, very pleased with what I've heard and what I've seen so far. And there was one other thing that I did want to basically draw your attentions to, is that they said that they're developing this game for global. So I've noticed a trend here. NCSoft are, most of their games that they're coming out with and they're releasing, their whole market is aimed for the global market. So it's not aiming for a Korean base, it's a global base. So that is huge here. And it said, like I said earlier, I touched upon, we're currently looking at a target of 2024, and it will launch globally on PC and console. So no mobile devices, just PC and console, and it's going to be a global release. So yeah, that is very, very exciting for me to hear. What are your thoughts on this, ladies and gentlemen? Leave me a comment down below. Do you like shooting games? Do you like open world games? And of course, you must like MMO games if you're on my channel. So is this a combination that you're going to be excited for, or is this a no for you? But anyway, like I said, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys and girls soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.